Now, we're going to revisit the vast and resourceful continent of Africa. Earlier, I mentioned or introduced Meron Tesfaye-Michael as one of two experts behind the Energy Vision for Africa present here today, and now it is time to meet the second one. The report was written under the leadership of him, specifically Professor Youba Sokona, who has decades of experience in addressing energy, environment, and sustainable development in Africa. He has given a significant contribution to the work of the IPCC as vice chair, co-chair, and lead author for many years. Now he is building up the African Institute for Sustainable Energy and System Analysis as chair of the interim board. Professor Sokona points out that the energy system in Africa is supply-oriented, and this needs to change. But how, I wonder? I'm confident that he has a lot of thoughts on these questions, and he is willing to share them with us. So he's already here, but please welcome Professor Youba Sokona. Take it away.
Good morning. And thank you for giving me the opportunity and to participate in this very important gathering. And, despite the ritual of the COPs and the ritual of IPCC with tireless work of Jai Odman, Yoita Gupta, the other friend in the IPCC, we are not on the track. We are completely deviating from the track. And obviously, there is a need of rethinking, redesigning, and rejuvenating. But the problem is that it is often forgotten by most of us that the 1992 Climate Convention was a G7 initiative, and then to which developing countries were invited. And in response to the North agenda on climate and energy security, and then the South insisted on linking climate and sustainable development and making the fight against poverty a first and overriding priority. And then we have a tendency to forget that. And this led to decades of misunderstanding, of which the issue of finance dossier is a symbol. And then we had to wait a quarter of a century for the Paris Agreement in the COP21, 2015, to seriously address the issue. And then in Kyoto, the South was granted that a clean development mechanism under which it could obtain emission credit from investing made in the North that could be traded on carbon market. But this did not happen. And then we all know the result. And this is not, and then in 2015, the COP15 in Copenhagen focused on the 2 degrees objective without specifying in the terms of a north-south transfer of the 100 billion per year. And then the real problem is that how we do bridge the gap between the North and the South in that context, because there is a misunderstanding. And then unless we fix that, it's very, very hard and then to move. And my expertise in development, climate, and energy issues. And so I will take this opportunity and, as an illustrative example. And I have 2 simple messages, and then how we can bridge the gap. And we always need to connect climate with development issues, and then this is not the case. In the global North, climate issues are mainly about mitigation. In the global South, our research shows that without linking climate issues to development, nothing will happen. And to illustrate, and there currently are investment plan of about 60 billion US in green hydrogen in Africa. Roughly 90% of it designated for export, not to be used in Africa, while Africa is starving on energy. That has been illustrated by my colleague, Meron. And But this plan do not include many resources to ensure local value creation and redistributing the benefit to local people or local value chain in Africa. If we don't consider local development in this green investment, then renewable energy and green hydrogen will just become Africa's next resource curve. Second, and then we need a different approach to development, one that focuses on empowering local institutions, particularly the universities. Our current approach to development is failing, in large because it is not able to understand country-specific challenges and opportunities and lack local ownership. Long-term, sustainable development in Africa can only be achieved if we empower local institutions to drive African development agenda by the Africans. And Global North can play a critical role and unique role here. And they can support local research and development and innovation capacity for local value chain. We discussed yesterday about the clean cooking. As a matter of fact, all the knowledge, all the thinking on clean cooking for Africa is based in Europe, not in African universities. This is a paradox, because there is no need of clean cooking in Europe. And building the right higher education program and vocational training is important. And build knowledge-sharing partnership and foster an institution that will reinvent profit from green energy plan into diversifying the local economy. And then the global energy transition is a great opportunity. It could be a green opportunity in Africa, provided that its narrative is inclusive. We all applaud in Dubai for the phase-out fossil fuel. It has been repeated in this room. But the energy issue of billions of people have been put aside. This is phasing out use of charcoal and firewood for cooking. These are direct impact on the people, in the life of the people, billions of people, in their health. It can be easily done in less than 5 years. But since in Nairobi in 1981, we talk about it, and then we've left it aside because it doesn't matter. The billion of people, what matters is fossil fuel, phase out. And this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And then to capture all of those, we need to combine climate issues with the need for local development in Africa, and we need to change our approach to development to one where empower local African institutions. And the responsibility of those for whom climate protection is a major challenge is then to make an effort to show that common language is possible between North and South, and then to discuss the multilateral cooperation that pacify what needs. And I thank you. Those are my contribution to this very important talk. Thank you.